we started doing goat yoga, and it's more than just goats jumping on you.
Brought out Cal, an incredible sulcata tortoise, and I am also very proud to show off and say thank you. I got my silver play button from YouTube. What's up everybody, EdThePondProfessor here. As you can see, I'm at my personal home, Blue Sky Farm, Sugar Grove, Illinois. My incredible wife Ellen, she has a brand new baby goat, and you also know this guy right over here, Josh Price, Ohio Fish Rescue, and he just brought out Cal, an incredible sulcata tortoise, which he is gifting to us for Blue Sky Farm. This is going to be an incredible addition here because Ellen has, I don't even know how many people coming through on a daily basis, weekly, monthly basis, but we like to show off our property. We like to show off all the incredible animals we have. And I am also very proud to show off and say thank you for all of you tuning in for the past several years. I got my silver play button from YouTube, so it is another milestone for EdThePondProfessor. Now what I want to do is show you all the stuff that's happening right here on the farm.
Hi, I'm Ellen Ballou, and this is my baby goat Bess, and we're at Blue Sky Farm. We started doing goat yoga. Didn't plan on being a goat yoga farm, but that's what happened because it started in 2018, and people always ask me, what's the deal with goat yoga? Like, why does it work, and what's so special about it? And it's more than just goats jumping on you. It really is the perfect marriage of the beautiful practice of yoga and animal therapy. And goats don't love to be pursued. When you create this magical energy on your mat, and they feel comfortable and they get to be themselves, then something really cool happens during classes, and it really is here to stay. This is our 6th season doing goat yoga, and I sell out tons of classes, so it really is a fun experience, and I love to enjoy it and share it with people.
Bit of an update on the Hobbit House. You haven't seen this probably in several years. It's always been in the background a little bit here and there for different videos and things like that, but we're always doing different projects out here. I'm finally wrapping up the green roof as well as some of the other details on this project, so let me take you on a little walk. So I have been slowly working away on the Hobbit House here.
They're taking the hobbits to Isengard!
For past couple of years. Did the main part, which everybody sees over here, but I wanted to get this back stuff taken care of. So finally I am cleaning up everything, doing retaining walls. Came in with some more of these old posts that I had, which is actually what I used to create the structure itself. So it kind of gives it a little bit of continuity, and then just putting together random boulders and logs and different things like that that I've had here on the property. Also did some steps finally coming down. This was just a slope before. Every time it rained I'd get a little bit of water in there. Nothing ever that bad.
So it begins.
What I want to try to do today is come in and start doing some of the plantings around this just to soften everything up. I opened this up a little bit more, so I had some logs coming in here. It was looking a little bit kind of constricted. It gives me a lot more open space. Fireplace does work. Just need to finish some more of the stone work up around the outside edges and things like that. So it's just a never-ending project, but it's a lot of fun. I'm going to come in and bring in some more of my plants inside as well, just to kind of break up all the stone and wood and everything like that. Definitely makes a big difference. Overall, I'm happy with everything. Goal today, get some of these plants in around this outside edge, start cleaning things up. Again, picking away at all these different little pieces. Coming to you from Aqualand right now. It's a really cool time of the year, and it's just because I love all these different types of aquatic plants, but I also want to show you how to actually plant some stuff up, and specifically how I'm going to plant up a biofall. So let me show you some of the plants that I'm looking at here. We have an incredible diversity of different types of marginal aquatics. All the plants that you see here are all marginal aquatic plants, meaning they don't need a lot of water depth. They like to have wet feet, and some of them could grow actually totally submerged, and some of them are just going to be just slightly damp. And then we also have deep water type stuff. Water lilies are actually here right now in very shallow water. Normally these would be installed inside of a pond 18 to 24 inches deep. We would actually probably repot some of these, put them into larger pots and fertilize them and things like that. You got some umbrella palm, rushes, we got iris, we got pickerel, some really cool stuff. And then can't forget the floating plants, water hyacinth, water lettuce. Those are also staples and very important for filtration. So what I want to do right now is just pick out a handful of different plants that we could use inside of a biofilter. I love the sweet flag. I think that's a staple. I'm also big fans of the creeping Jenny.
That's creepy.
Another plant that I like to mix in with that, the water dock or the bloody dock. You got some of these really cool veins inside of here, and then you have that burgundy color on the other side of it. I'm gonna add in some of those floating plants as well. I think we're gonna have a lot of fun doing this upgrade project on a biofilter. Talking about the biofalls, if you've seen some of the past vlogs, we talked about a skimmer system, so that pre-filtration component. We talked about the right pumping system, so having the right pump that's going to deliver the desired amount of water flow, as well as the right amount of aeration, filtration, and aesthetic effects that you're looking for. We also talked about different types of piping and how that is going to help with the overall efficiency of the ecosystem as it ties all these different pieces together. So the final part, skimmer system on one side, piping going in between, being powered by a pump, that water is being discharged into a biological filter, or if you have a pondless type of a waterfall, it could actually be going directly into one of our waterfall spillways or something like that. But I'm talking about biological filtration, which is why I have a BioFalls behind me. I want to discuss some of those different components so you can see firsthand how all that stuff works. The one I have here at my house was installed several years ago now, and as you can see, it's actually functioning. I want to kind of freshen it up a little bit. I actually took everything apart, and that's the beauty of this type of stuff, getting ideas from nature as well as previous projects that I've built so I can come up with the latest and greatest concepts and ideas. So I want to show you some of those techniques here today. So let's start out with the BioFalls, and then I'm going to split off and I'm going to show you some of the different types of plants that I have chosen that will help to finish off this entire feature. So here is our BioFalls unit. You can see it comes boxed up. This is the 2500 unit. Some of the different things that I'm going to be using to decorate around my biofilter. Start out with some aquatic plantings, which you saw me grabbing from Aqualand. So I have some creeping Jenny. I'm a big fan of bloody dock. And then I have some of that sweet flag. The dogs wanted to come up and say, hey, there's one, two, there's the third one. I also grabbed some moss from neighbor's farm right down the road, which is awesome. I mean, check out some of that stuff. I have some water lettuce, which is a beautiful floating plant. I also dug up one of my small little hostas that I had here on the property, and I stole one of Ellen's plants, which I don't think she knows yet.
Keep it secret. Keep it safe.
These are perfect and could be added into aquatic ecosystems. I have some of my old heavy-duty fabric. This is stuff that I use as rock pad and things like that. Great material for attaching moss to stuff. It also creates little planted pockets and things like that, so I'll show you how I'm going to use that. Waterfall foam sealant. We're going to use it for sealing things up as well as attaching the moss to the fabric as well as decorating up some of the other pieces and parts. And then we have some additional river rock, and I'm going to take this guy out of the box so you can see what it looks like before it's actually installed. Way up over here is the biofilter. So as you can see, it's completely hidden from view basically. You can see a little bit of a plastic edge over here in the back. I'm going to pull out some of these plants and stuff like that. I'm going to decorate that biofilter. You can see I have some little old rocks in here because I had some aquatic plants in here before. This little section over here have a kind of an interesting story. Last fall, one of my dogs was up here digging around for some reason. Don't know what she was digging for.
The dwarves delved too greedily and too deep. You know what they awoke in the darkness.
But she lowered this edge and my biofilter was dumping water outside the liner. Now normally that's not a big issue, and that's because the water just disappears. I mean, you're going to lose water, but it's not the end of the world. But this is a roof, so there's a Hobbit House underneath this. All of the water got dumped inside and it flooded. I'm talking a couple feet of water inside of the Hobbit House, so it made a huge mess. I have not fixed that all the way. I obviously pulled the liner up to take care of the leak, but I want to fix up all that stuff. Let's start off by talking about that biofilter. BioFalls specifically. We came up with this concept many years ago. We have several iterations of this. It started out as actually a cattle trough, then we had some fiberglass units, but every single one of them we were modifying. We were cutting, splicing, and then we came up with this bolted connection, actually using an old skimmer system. So we eventually came up with this model, which actually has been held now for probably 20 plus years. Let's look at this from an overall perspective here. You're looking down inside of it. See these two holes coming down on the bottom? Those are for bulkhead fittings. So this allows us to bring in piping from two different directions very easily. We could also set one of them up as a drain system. So we'd have a feed coming in from one. The other one could have another piece of pipe going out with actually a drain line on it. That allows you to backflush and drain the filter very quickly and efficiently. One of the other things I want to point out here, when we had the hole right here in the middle, the water would blast across and it would create an area with high velocity. velocity and turbulence right here in the front. So we started offsetting things to create more of a circulation pattern. So it's more of a swirl chamber now. The water starts colliding with itself, and any of the sediments and solids inside of it are going to be deposited down in the bottom. It's mostly going to be big stuff, and that is very, very important because we do not want to clog up the filter media. Okay, so here is our little faceplate. We're going to use our rubber membrane. The membrane is going to come up the face of this. Then going to use a silicone sealant between the rubber liner and the plastic itself. We then have a series of bolts, and we create a compression joint. We actually bolt this in place, and the joint in between is going to create a watertight seal. We then have this little tray that sits in there. So we have unimpeded water flow coming into the bottom, 2 different layers of filter mats that are going to go inside of here. This comes with a series of little additional net bags. You could fill that with your choice of biomedia, bioballs, activated carbons, and things like that. The rock tray that is removable if necessary. We're going to fill these pockets with river stone, and then we're going to put in our different types of aquatic vegetation, which is going to act as tertiary filtration. We want to have as much surface area as possible for microorganisms to colonize. Biological filtration is very, very simple. It's a home for microorganisms, and when it's done properly, we don't have any issues with those microorganisms, and the colonies that are going to start to live and breed and spread out through that area are responsible for the water quality. So they're going to remove different types of nutrients and things from the water, which is going to give us the desired water quality that we're looking for on all of our different projects. All the colonies of things that are living and breathing inside of here are aerobic animals. They are consuming oxygen. The waterfall is a very, very simple way to re-oxygenate the water, plus its biomimicry concepts. This is exactly what's happening in rivers and streams around the world on a daily basis. So that life-giving oxygen is being infused back into the water as it cascades over those rocks. It's going to splash around. You can see all that turbulence that's going to be created down at the bottom, but it's also picking up all those little zones around the outside perimeter. So look at all that splash area. Check out the mosses. All that stuff just starts to spread over time. That's an important part of the filtration. Let's kind of shift gears now. Instead of talking about the biofilter, let's actually go into action and actually start to transform that filter into a spring head. So it's like a little spring creek where you see water bubbling up out of the earth, and then it starts gaining velocity as it moves further and further downstream. You can see that bolted connection where I have my liner. That faceplate is turned around backwards. I just have this fast moving water coming out. One of the things from a design perspective I see a lot of people doing is having a giant waterfall or something coming out of the biofilter. Sometimes you have to make that happen in order to fit the design parameters. I prefer to set it a little bit further back and just kind of create this little upwelling area, and then the water picks up more and more velocity as it works its way downstream and eventually making it over to our pumping system. So I've changed things up just a little bit. The stump didn't look good on that side, so I just moved it to this other side, which kind of looks good. It's leading up into some of the other vegetation on that side. Also, it's kind of breaking up some of the lines here in front. I have some of these extrude drainage panels, which we use with our aqua blocks all the time. I did a secondary ledge inside the biofilter, sitting on a rock here in the front, but from down below, it's just gonna break up that line. Now I'm gonna come in with that sweet flag just to give a little bit of that pop, and then as that grows, it's really gonna soften up that entire area. And then I'm going to start layering in some more of the plants as well as the river rock, and I will start adding the moss as the final detail. All right, so I wrapped up the area around the biofalls. I still have more work to do around the outside perimeter, but have to focus on one thing at a time. You can see I added in the little moss details in certain areas, dropped in a couple other little small stones. Love the addition of that little stump over here, and then came in with more moss, river rock, aquatic plants, all those little details, as well as coming in around the outside perimeter, bringing some of that stonework in just to kind of change the shape of things. Got that little outcropping over here. I dropped in the slab of limestone down at the bottom, and then I picked it back up over on the south side edge with some small cobblestones, and I love all that little moss. And again, you have to check out that beautiful sunset back there. What an incredible day it has been, adding in aquatic plants, finishing up the biofilter, making all those details pop out, but it's also an important part of the functioning of the ecosystem. The root systems of all these different plants are going to send down those roots inside of that biofilter, where we have that upwelling effect from the water from the pumping system. Coming in with some other decorative plantings, the impatiens. I also have that little mini hosta that I pulled out. So stuff that you would normally find in and around your garden is a perfect addition if it can handle some wet feet. But I love those little accents because it makes all the difference in the world. And this little detail is just gonna take this project over the top. I hope you enjoyed the Hobbit House update, and if you're interested on how I actually pulled this project off, check out this video.